Good day everyone, and today we're gonna talk about the box and whisker plot. So how to read it and what other information we can get from the box and whisker plot. Look there, a little ant. There we go. Come buddy, we are recording here. Okay, he's gonna stay there. Anyway, let's go back to the box and whisker and let's have a look what it looks like. Ta-da! Okay, so what we have here is the box and whisker, and it is now on the scale. So what we're going to look at is, oops, I have the wrong one. I should have done it like that. Spoiler alert. There we go. So what we have here is we have the box and whisker plot. So we see the two little whiskers there, and then we see the box. So how does it look? So we have the minimum, we have our quartile 1, our quartile 2, quartile 3, and then we have our maximum value. So these two whiskers are my lowest on the side and the highest point on the side on the box and whisker. And then my quartiles is more towards the middle of my data. So now we can go to this one. Look there, and it's still here, just video bombing me. Okay, so how do we read this? In most cases, it will be given with a scale or a ruler, whichever you prefer. So what we do is, when you have a box and whisker, you simply go to the minimum point. Remember, that's our first whisker. And you take a ruler or anything that is straight, and you literally go and you read from the ruler the value of the specific point. For example, my minimum here is going to be 0. Then we also have a ruler. So before you start reading, you have to look at the scale of the ruler. So when we look at the scale of the ruler, we are seeing that it is increasing with increments of 2 each time. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. So that is very important. You have to go and look at your ruler first before you do any reading of the scale. So on to the next point. So now we have our Q1. So the Q1, this one is a little bit skewed, but bear with me. So if we look at the Q1, we will see that the Q1 is between the 4 point and the 8 point, and the value between those 2 points is going to be, ta-da, you guessed that right, it's going to be number 6. Then we have our Q2, and the Q2 is going to be 10, which is between 8 and 12. And we have our Q3, which is between 12 and 14 and 16, so therefore it is 14. And when we look at the maximum, we can read that the maximum is equal to 20. And that is literally how simple this box and whisker plot is. And that's how you read the values of it. But the box and whisker does not only tell us about the different points, it also gives us a little bit of a picture about the data itself. So let's have a look at that. So in this box and whisker, you will see that the box is more on the side of the minimum value. Now there's a reason for that. Or there are two reasons for that. We can say most of our data is situated on the lower side or to the minimum side of the data set. So you have a lot of small numbers in your data set. Or the alternative reason for this is that we might have an, yes, you guessed that right, an outlier. So we might have an outlier, and we can see that the distance from our Q3 to the maximum is very large. So that is an indication that we have an outlier on the upper half or the upper part of our data. Now, what if it is on the right hand side? So we see the box is more on the side of the maximum. So the reasons are reversed, but they are still the same. So we have that most of our data is lying on the upper half or the upper side of our data set, and that we have an outlier that is lying on the minimum, and we can see the distance is from the Q1 to the minimum is very large. So that is how you basically read the box and whisker. Now, let's go back and talk about our interquartile range. Our interquartile range will be discussed in the next video.